what I'm hearing from you is like, what can we do for ourselves? Are you suggesting to own the bulk of your wealth in precious metals?
Well, that's what I do. I know that the world's central banks have been net buyers of precious metals of gold for quite a while now, and last year was a record that goes back to what 1968, I believe, was the
Right.
last time.
All
And
time. Actually, they adjusted
also,
it. They came back. The World Gold Council came back and said it was actually the highest bought ever on record.
doesn't that say to you that the central banks
Yes,
that are doing the purchasing know that something is up and they're getting
that's
ready
what
for
I've been
something big?
saying.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So, yeah, something big is coming. I'm getting ready for it. And the thing is, I wish I could have come up with a different title other than Great Gold and Silver Rush of the 21st Century. But I believe this is going to be the biggest gold rush in history. The amount of currency that has been created, the amount of true wealth that exists, and then all of that suddenly trying to seek a safe haven during periods of turbulence, which we are going into right now. And gold and silver have been suppressed, and some of the people that suppressed, there's been convictions of people that were accused of manipulating the price of gold. Now, these are more short-term manipulations, but long-term manipulations have existed as well. But in one chapter, to those people, I say that the manipulations have allowed me to accumulate gold at a lower price than it would have been if the free market was setting the price. And I say, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Enjoy your time in jail.
Let me ask you. Let me go out on a limb and ask this question: if the central banks are desperate to hoard gold or whatever for whatever they see coming,
Yeah.
and you bring up that gold is, right now we can argue should be much higher than what it is, and you bring up, price suppression. Can we make a link there? I mean, don't central banks want to keep gold prices lower if they're buying?
Yes, they do want to keep prices lower. What was interesting, there's one little piece during the pandemic. There were huge amounts of gold flowing into the United States. Normally, the United States is an exporter of gold, not an importer. And the COMEX was getting prepared they didn't want to face some sort of default. And if you look at that period of time, if you take the central bank purchases from China plus the Shanghai Gold Exchange, and you look at the inflows and outflows, China was accumulating, there were inflows. When you look at their exchanges and the central bank purchases, they only report once in a while. And I think they're actually accumulating more than they're admitting. But the China's constant importation of gold stopped, as well did the rest of the world. And it was like suddenly all the gold was flowing to the United States to prevent some sort of default. And so it seems like there is something very big going on beneath the surface here.
You talk about an economy on life support. You say
Okay.
since '08, the financial markets have been on artificial life support, and now the Fed thinks they can just pull the plug without the patient dying. I've seen in other interviews you bring up, former Fed Chair Ben Bernanke, and you say it's like a joke. He won the Nobel Peace Prize, but yet you I don't want to use the word blame, but I will. You blame him for basically the collapse of the world economy. Do you
Yes.
really feel that the mess we're in today is due to Ben Bernanke, or do you feel it started before Bernanke?
Well, it started with the invention of this monetary system by Paul Warburg when they came up with the central bank for the United States, but that was based on a model of the Bank of England. So this goes way back. That was the beginning of the problems that we've got, borrowing currency into existence by enslaving future generations. When the Federal Reserve buys a bill, note, or bond, they're buying cash flow from your future taxes. So it's your future work hours that is backing the currency. The central banking, the way currency is borrowed into existence. But if you go back to Ben Bernanke's 2002 speech, just do an internet search for deflation, making sure it doesn't happen here, and read that speech. Or better yet, I gave a live presentation decoding this speech, I think back in 2015 or 2016. Because he uses this central bank language that has a lot of big words in it that are supposed to go over people's heads, so they go, wow, that guy's really smart. We better let him run things. That speech laid out the roadmap for everything that has happened since 2008. It was all there, written and available for anybody in 2002. That is what caused me to, that's what caused me to write my first book, Guide to Investing in Gold and Silver, but to research the economy so intensely. And it's a shame that this is titled Gold and Silver, because people, the majority of the books that I sell are going to be sold when gold and silver are already in their blow-off top. And what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to educate people on economics and a little bit of the history of money and currency, the difference between money and currency, the difference between price and value. And it's really important for people to learn as much as they can about the monetary system and the financial system before this next crisis happens, because everything that they've done, all this currency creation, it warps the economy. It's taking wealth from one sector and giving it to another. The economy gets warped, and the bigger the warping, when it snaps back to equilibrium, the bigger the pain, the more pain we're all going to have because of it. And like I said, there is avoiding it. But yes, it's Ben Bernanke's fault. What we have coming is the Bernanke bust.
Let me say I do agree. I feel like, yes, gold and silver predominantly in the headline, but the book is so much more than metals. It really is. I feel that there's a lot of optimism in the book, right? Like, you're not just trying to scare people. You're actually trying to prepare people and say, like, look, don't panic. Like, you can prepare for the crisis.
Yes.
And it's just a really good overview of the monetary system. I want to get in some thoughts on central bank digital currencies. You talk a lot about it in the book, the coming of CBDCs. How far away are we from that reality, and your thoughts on central bank digital currencies?